Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, as we read letters from the voyages of St. Frances Cabrini as she traveled around the Western Hemisphere sharing the good news of Christ. Hello, Catholic pilgrims, welcome back. As we've traveled around with Mother Cabrini, you may have wondered how she handles leaving behind the things that she has started up. How does she feel about starting something up and then leaving it in the care of others? That takes a great amount of trust. I do think there are people who can handle starting something up and then once it's up and running, moving on to the next thing. My husband is that way. I am not, but we each have our role to play. Mother will share with us how she handles this in our reading today. So let's turn to page 237. September 4th. This was the second night I had spent on board, and still the fatigue, which had not as yet abandoned me, left me somewhat indisposed. I awoke many times, and it took me several minutes to realize where I was, for I still imagined I was in New York, and that it was time for me to get up to go on with the work of the missions which I had begun, and which you, with indefatigable zeal, should continue. I was even unsettled by anxiety, but by the grace of God, I did not allow it to conquer me. I consoled myself with the thought that the work was well protected. I wish now to speak of my last mission, in which, with the approval of His Grace, Archbishop Corrigan, I opened a school at 5 Points, where the Protestants work with great ardor, especially among the poor Italians. The devil has made use of every strategy against me for several months past, even setting the most ridiculous obstacles in my way. But I hope to conquer, and my hope is supported by the indefatigable zeal of Archbishop Corrigan, who desires the school and supports it. However difficult a work may be, I always place it in the adorable heart of our sweet Jesus, and thus I rest sure and tranquil, even though I am far away, for I know well that He can do and complete the work I desire for His glory. When I am on the spot, I shall work with might and main, but when obedience calls me away to work elsewhere, I must leave without anxiety the previous work, trusting in Jesus that He will give help and energy to the sisters who have to continue the work which I left interrupted. Oh, the law of love is so beautiful and amiable. He has given it Himself to His creatures, but we cannot love Him if we are not first loved by Him. Having given such a law, He has communicated to us the grace with which to love Him. What shall we not do then for love of a God so amiable and generous towards us, that He has called us to follow Him closely and to continue His mission on this earth? Let us correspond to His love. Let us be generous, remembering always that the salvation of many souls is entrusted to our charity. We can do nothing of ourselves, for we are poor and miserable. But if we have faith and trust in Him who comforts us, then we can do all things. Let us open wide our hearts. Let us help those souls lying under the yoke of the King of Darkness. Let us break, by the fire of ardent charity, the heavy chains that bind these poor souls to the terrible slavery of the devil, and we shall see that our efforts are not in vain. Let us fall at the feet of Jesus and, sorrowing over the iniquity of the world, supplicate the divine heart to open the treasures of its infinite mercy. Then let us begin anew, never allowing ourselves to be overcome by fatigue. Difficulties should never frighten the spouse of Christ, but render her stronger and more steadfast. Do not be discouraged by repulses and contradictions, but always go forward with the serenity and strength of the angels, keeping to your path despite every contrary influence. When things are easy, everything appears to smile. But difficulties prove where there is fidelity and constancy. Remember, daughters, you are the tutelary angels of the earth. Therefore, you should always be ready when holy obedience calls to fly over the vast fields which charity lays before you. Let your lives be a perennial sacrifice of yourselves in behalf of the human race. Let your joy consist in working much and praying much. Always renew your offering as victims of expiation and reconciliation between heaven and earth. In contradictions and difficulties, bear in mind how our Lord let the apostles work all night in vain, miss the storm to try them, so that they might accustom themselves to suffer adversity and not grow faint in the midst of persecutions they would meet in the course of their lives, but rather resist and go forward whatsoever the difficulty might be. And you, dear daughters, who are destined to continue the mission of the apostles, enter often into yourselves amidst the retirement and silence which your rules allow. Look into your souls. See how you behave in moments of adversity and prosperity, both of which form the two storms of our lives. Greater is the storm of prosperity than that of adversity, but in either you may be shipwrecked. Examine yourselves well at the two examinations of conscience every day, which are exacted by your rule. See if you allow inordinate affections to predominate, and if you behave as you should when exposed to winds contrary to your spiritual welfare, no matter how much they serve to flatter your imagination and desires. I wish you were all on board with me today. What a spectacle! A horizon so vast gives one an idea of immensity. Wherever one turns to look, all is tranquility. The steamer is traveling at great speed, but we hardly notice it, as the elements that surround us are so quiet that the steamer cuts through the waves with ease. One would almost think we were sailing through the sky, the waves being of such a pale blue that they resemble the skies. This is a beautifully spacious and comfortable steamer, La Touraine. I have not seen another which provides so much comfort and convenience. It is like a small town, with its streets, avenues, and squares. Magnificent rooms, parlors, studios, and apartments with every possible comfort help to make up this floating town. The personnel is very good and kind. The captain on board is a king and a father also. He acts in both capacities. He is as majestic as a king and as charitable as a father. Seeing that our cabins were situated in London Avenue, some distance from the dining room, and the stair leading to the decks, I asked him to change them, and to our great surprise he gave us a luxurious apartment with 2 beds on the top deck, the best and most comfortable. Near us is a wonderful parlor with a balcony, which is under the lamp which lights up the salon and dining rooms. This parlor is at our disposal, and no one is allowed to enter unless we wish it. It is here that I am writing. Mother Virginia keeps me company, sitting on a deck chair or lying now and then on her bed, free of seasickness, from which up to the present she has greatly suffered. The passengers are a select class of people. Many are Spanish, some Americans and Italians, and a few French. We have on board an Augustinian friar, a French priest, an Italian priest, an American priest, several sisters, an Ursuline, a Marist, and 4 sisters of St. Joseph of Cluny. The priest and the first 2 sisters sit at the same table with me, and help me very much, as I do not know which of the dishes offered will best suit me, for I'm like a fish. I feel better on sea than on land. That'll be all for today, Catholic Pilgrims. Tomorrow, fog will roll in on the sea, which obviously at that time made travel very dangerous. But until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.